Hey, everybody. Welcome to Stories of Hope. I am so excited for you guys to hear some incredible testimonies tonight about what the mental wellness company's products are doing for people who I know and love. So, my name is Lauren McCoy. I am a stay at home mom of two young kiddos in West Virginia. My husband, Eric, is a middle school science teacher. And I came across the mental wellness company about 2.5 years ago. I had been struggling with postpartum mental wellness challenges, not feeling motivated, feeling feelings of anxiousness all the time, feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed out, feeling touched out and stretched thin. And quite frankly, it got to the point where I wondered if life was ever going to feel worth living again. I was really struggling. And after almost 21 months of that, I went to my doctor and I said, "You've got to run some labs. There is something really wrong with me." And so she ran all these tests, did a full CBC, tested my thyroid, my hormone levels, all these things, and came back and said, "Hey, listen, everything's normal. You're normal. We just got to get you on some prescriptions." Now, I'm not anti-prescriptions by any means, but I wanted to try one more thing before going down that road. And this was my one more thing. And I'm here to tell you on day 3 of these products, I was already feeling lighter. I noticed that I was not snapping at my kids. I wasn't as short fused as I had been. And it only got better from there. I noticed phased benefits as I continued taking these products, and I felt the tangible presence of joy in my life again. And at the same time that I was trying the products and experiencing these changes, my son had started our kids pack. He was dealing with some major sensory issues. He was sensory seeking in some ways and sensory avoiding in other ways. And he would have meltdowns that would last an hour. I'm talking kicking, screaming, spitting on the floor. And a month into these products, he was a different kid. He has been able to tap into his creative side. He no longer has fear around our sweet dog, who has never even thought about doing anything unkind to him or scaring him in any capacity. He's able to just I feel like the products unlocked the kid he always was under the surface. And so between the changes that I experienced and the changes that he experienced, the atmosphere in our home is just completely different thanks to these products. And I'm so excited that you're here to learn more about them. We are the premier gut brain axis company. We are the mental wellness company. And so our products really get to the root by addressing that communication between the gut and the brain. And so I'm really excited for you to hear from some of my friends tonight. And first up is my sweet friend, Lacey.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. I am Lacey Nielsen. I am a mom of 4. I live in Henderson, Nevada, and I'm married to my complete and utter opposite. So I'm sure God gets a good chuckle at us. So my story is pretty much my entire making of my life. However, the aspect that I want to share with you tonight is the one that has probably been the most life changing because it not only affected me, but my family as a whole. So, when my second was born, he was my easiest pregnancy, easiest newborn. He was just so cuddly and sleepy and just so easy. And then we hit the toddler years, which are always difficult for everybody. But he started having these major tantrums, like these big, huge emotions. And it was like he was unreachable. Once that tantrum started, there didn't matter the amount of love or discipline or redirection or sticker charts or anything that was presented to him. You had to just stand back and just kind of let him burn out. And as I would go to his well child checks, I would tell the pediatrician, like, that something is off. Something is not quite right. And he would just say, "Oh, he's a boy. It's okay. He'll grow out of it." And so I held on to that hope for a few years. And as he continued to get older, his tantrums and his feelings started to get bigger. And he started to rage so hard that there would be holes in the walls and he'd have these awful migraines. One time I asked him to draw me a picture of what it felt like inside. And he drew this circle with a whole bunch of little tiny circles inside of it. And when I asked him to explain it, he said, "That is my brain, and all the little circles are bombs. And they're just bombs always exploding in my head." And I knew I had to advocate for him. I had to fight for him. And so we went down the route of seeking out medical professional help within the mental health area. And so we started with a therapist, and she was like, just looked me dead straight in the eyes and said, if you were a better mom, he would be a better kid. And I just had no words for her. And then she turned to him and said, dude, just knock it off and listen to your mom, and sent us on our way. And I'm like, well, that's clearly not helping. So we tried all these different therapists. We tried all these different techniques. I read all of the books. If it is available, I have tried it. Then we entered the route of going to like a psychiatrist who prescribed him medication that made him suicidal in second grade. And it just was so hard for him. And it broke my heart because he just had these huge emotions that he would do everything he could to hold it together for school. And as soon as he got home, it just like the floodgates opened. And so then the rest of the family had to then endure these big, huge emotions. And so it just was taking its toll. So by the time he turned 12 and we were entering the pandemic, which I knew was going to be so hard for him and for all of us, I was afraid to take him out anywhere because I never knew who he was going to be, what I was going to get, what was going to trigger him. Everything made me nervous for him. And he would just numb out with Xbox. He would do everything he could just to numb with video games. So when Amari crossed my path, I was willing to try anything. Like I felt like I crossed it all off my list and I was willing to try anything. So we started with Happy Juice for him. And within the first month, I saw little glimpses of the boy I always knew he was. Like he was just this sweet, kind, soft little boy trapped in these big, huge emotions. And as he started going through and allowing the Happy Juice to work, I saw him sit down willingly with his sister and help her with her homework, which is something he would have never done before. I saw him walk up to me and give me a hug and say, Mom, I love you, which I was his emotional punching bag before. And so that was like a breath of fresh air. And as time has gone on, he has become my peacemaker. Now, he's still a teenager. He's now 14 and is still very much a teenager. But he is that boy that I always knew was inside of him. He is thoughtful. He can see what's happening around him. He can hear what I'm trying to teach him without the walls up. He is just this kind, sweet soul that I always knew was in there. And so on the days like during spring break when we are off schedule and doesn't always get his vitamins and his Happy Juice, he'll come to me and say, Mom, I need my Happy Juice. I can feel a difference. And so that is, if nothing else improved in my life, which it has, but if nothing else had, that is something that is worth everything, because I was desperate for an answer, desperate for a direction, desperate to help him because I felt so helpless. So that is my story of hope for today. There's many more to share, but that is the one I wanted to share tonight. And so now I'm going to hand it over to Shane, who has also an incredible story.
Hey, thanks, Lacey. First, I just want to say thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to have an opportunity to share your story. Like I said, my name is Shane Milburn. I'm married, father of two little girls who dance 6 days a week. So as you can guess, that is my life. Dance is my life. Never thought that was going to be the case, but that's where I'm at. But a little bit background of where I came from. So about 2 years ago, I hit a pretty big low. I'm an Air Force veteran. I also, before that, kind of crazy life before that, was a rodeo clown. I've had a lot of injuries, a lot of issues from that, aches and pains. Right around the time I turned 43, I just hit bottom. I had been dealing with diverticulitis as well since I was 30 years old. I was diagnosed, which is really young for diverticulitis. I think most people usually get diagnosed in their 50s, I think, is what the doctor said at the time. So dealing with that through the years, I just kind of, watched what I ate, didn't eat a lot of the favorite things that I love to eat. But I got to that point where I actually, right before I turned 43, I got sent to the hospital because my stomach hurt so bad. I knew something was wrong. Ended up putting me in there for 7 days. And they had scheduled me to get a colon resection, which was kind of crazy. And I'm like, well, that doesn't sound fun. And I was down to do it because at this point, this was probably the 5th time I've been in the hospital for 5 days at least for the same issue. So I'm like, I just need to fix it. That's fine. Well, they sent me home, scheduled me like 3 months out. About that time, COVID hit. And the scheduled surgery that I had, they said, well, we're going to have to push you back about 3 or 4 months. And I'm like, well, crap, now what? So that got me digging in. I was feeling down and out then too, because I'm like, well, I can't even get this fixed. I don't feel good. On top of it, I had a bad back too. So I was just a mess, walking with a cane every 3 or 4 months because my back was so bad. So it was just all compounded. But I stumbled across the gut-brain axis, which is crazy, of all things, because I knew the one thing with my gut. I was like, bacteria has a big play in the diverticulitis. So when I stumbled on the gut-brain axis, I'm like, well, the good bacteria can help with my gut, and I really want to feel better, and that was my goal. And as I started in on that, I'd say within the first 2 weeks of starting the protocol, I started feeling a difference in how I felt in the morning. I think that was the number one thing I noticed. Like, dragging myself out of bed was hard before that. But I noticed that when my alarm would go off, I was hitting the button, I was jumping right out of bed. And I was like, whoa, who's this guy? And I think it just progressively got more and more that way. Like they said, the phased effect, I think, is the one thing. The more I took it, the longer I took it, the more benefits I started to feel. One thing I didn't mention too is I was about 40 pounds overweight as well. I was sitting at about 230 pounds, which for me was pretty heavy. I think I had been sitting at 205 pounds before that was like my lowest, and I couldn't get past that. But so as a phased benefit of me taking care of my gut, I was able to actually cancel my colon resection. I am now 2 years pain-free. I haven't had a single flare-up in 2 years, which is huge because I was literally having daily, at least aches, but no big flare-ups at all. So that's a huge victory. Number two, because I was feeling better and taking care of my gut, I got up moving more, started exercising. I've lost 40 pounds and have maintained it, which to me is crazy too, because as you know, with back problems, what do you do to fix your back problems when you're overweight and your back hurts? So as a phase benefit, the inflammation went down. I started losing weight. And like I said, I'm 40 pounds, and I keep my cane next to where I sit all the time, just so I can look at it and remind myself of where I was, right? Because I don't ever want to be there. And Lacey said with her son to numb it out. I'd come home from work and I'd sit there for 6 hours, go kiss the kids at bed, tuck them in and go back to play video games till it was time to go to bed. And that was my life, just shut everybody else out. And I haven't turned my video games on in a year and a half. So another huge victory. So I think the big nugget I just want to say here is consistency is probably the biggest key. There's no magic pill. There's no magic formula. But when and everything else just falls into place. And I feel really blessed that my life went from scrambled eggs, is the way I put it, to an omelet. I'm one piece now, and I'm working to be a Western omelet or whatever, make it better, whatever that looks like. But I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I hope everybody has a great evening. And I'm sorry, I cannot remember the other
Evelyn.
name
That's
right
okay.
now. So,
It's Evelyn.
I'm gonna go pass it off, but thank you for letting me share.
Hey, okay. So am I going? I'm Evelyn. I'm a mom of 5. I have teenagers, 2 teenagers. I have twin boys and a little girl at the bottom. So if you're a mom, if you're a parent at all, there's that phase of life where you are just surviving. Baby after baby after baby, and toddlers and spit up and feedings, and their names are all mixed up in your head, and you don't know which way is up. So for years, I just thought this is normal. This is mom life. I'm going crazy. And I would always say my brain is like a pizza. And I used to have this really nice big pizza all to myself. And then I had that first baby and I gave a slice away, and slice by slice, now I have barely anything left for myself. But I just thought that's the phase of life I'm in, and I was accepting it to just be the normal for me. I'm a driven, motivated person kind of by nature, but I felt myself struggling through the days, just same as Shane was saying, like that feeling in the morning of like pulling myself out of bed, getting to the coffee pot, drinking that first cup and being like, okay, let's do it. And I home educate. So I have a lot in front of me every day, and it requires me to be on, to be motivated for them, to get them motivated, to be creative, to be engaging. It's a lot. So when I hit that point of where I was just fighting through and feeling irritable and struggling to like get the kids engaged and getting snappy with them and, you know, all the things, I just knew I need to start focusing on myself. I've let it go for long enough. I'm physically active, but my mental health started to slip and I could feel it. I could feel myself just anxiety constant all day, every day. And just always feeling like I was behind the 8 ball, I guess is the best way to describe that. And I have a girlfriend who is in a very similar situation. She has 4 kids. I followed her on social media forever. She's a CrossFitter. She's like phenomenal. And she's a homeschooler, but she also teaches for a virtual school. And she's doing Amare. So I'm watching her journey, hearing her story, hearing how she was able to take the mom brain fog thing and just see it lifted through this protocol of products. And I watched her for about 6 months. And one day I was like, I'm calling Sam. I'm going to find out what this is. And if this is the thing that is going to take me from where I'm at to where I really want to be, I'll pay whatever I need to pay. I'm in. I want to do it. So I called her up and pretty much said that, like, what are you on? Send it to me. I want to know. I want it. I want all the products. I want to be fully submersed in this thing because I could tell that she was vibrant. She had this similar situation as I did as far as a family life, but she also had the creativity to bring it on social media. I could just see her face was radiant. Her eyes were clear. Her skin was beautiful. So she sent me the whole gamut. I had a counter full of stuff to try and get into. And within probably 2 weeks of Happy Juice, and then I was on like some of the more mental products focus and things like that. I noticed that I was waking up in the morning feeling rested, feeling I'm on a call. Waking up in the morning feeling like I could do it. And I had what I needed physically, mentally to bring to my kids what they needed every day. And that was a mom who had energy, who felt alive, who felt engaged, confident again, creative again. And that's actually when I flipped over into the business side of it because I love natural health. I've always been into homeopathic and alternative medicine stuff, but I felt like the way that Amare was doing it took all the guesswork out of it. If you would have looked at my supplement cabinet a year prior, it was full of 10 different products that Amare is putting into one. And they're combining it in such a way that it's not on me to pick 3 of these and 2 of these and this would be complex or whatever. I was trying to like make up my own formulas, but Amare has science behind what they're doing and the guesswork is taken care of. So now I'm moving into having my kids on it. We haven't gone full force, but I'm so inspired by what Lacey said. And I can't, like, tomorrow my kids are going to wake up and it's all going to be ready for them. And I'm going to get more diligent because just for myself, it's been such a positive experience for me. So those are my big things is I just felt like creativity was restored. I do not look at my kids and mix up all of their names like I did before. It's like these simple little things where I'm not struggling all the time for like, where is my brain going and what do I need to do? It's like, I can look at a room and analyze the situation with so much more clarity and vision and hope, honestly, hope. So that's it.
I completely love that. I giggled when you said that because I've totally been guilty of calling one of my children by the other one's names or even throwing the dog's name in there from time to time. I mean,
Yes.
stuff happens, okay? But I love your story. So guys, if you're watching this and you're like, I have got to get my hands on these products. This sounds like something I really need, or my child really needs, or my husband, or my friend, my wife, whoever. Get back with the person who invited you, because we would love to make some specific product recommendations to make sure that what you're getting in your hands is the best fit for what you need to meet your needs. But all of that to say that if you've watched this and you're like, I want to learn a little bit more about what you guys do as a company, as a community, I want to invite you to tomorrow at 2 Eastern. We have an event where you can check out a little bit more about the company, the opportunity, the compensation that comes with promoting these products on social media, to your network, getting these products in the hands of people who need them. So that is happening tomorrow. Excuse me. So I would encourage you, get back with the person who invited you tonight and learn more about how this company, how these products can help you. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next time.